A border-to-border ride's always intrigued me. A few years ago, I asked my friend Rob if he'd be interested in riding the Tour Divide, and at the time, he didn't seem very interested. Fast forward to 2020, and Rob asked if I wanted to go still. So, we both scheduled time off work, and before we knew it, we'd been planning this for over a year. Well, things didn't go according to plan, and just 5 days before we were set to leave, some things came up, and I had to make the tough decision to postpone the journey. With a few train tickets to Montana, and just 1 week of vacation, we made some adaptations. We'd set out for Whitefish, where we'd spend a week exploring the great Montana wilderness. We'd begin at the Whitefish Bike Retreat, then shuttle up to Rooseville, the border of US and Canada. We would then venture south, tracing along the rim of the stunning and expansive Kookanusa Lake. From there, we would travel northeast through the Kooetnai National Forest through Graves Creek and over Whitefish Pass, ultimately linking up with the west side of Glacier National Park. We'd spend a few days in the park before returning to Whitefish, where we'd catch a train home. I had a lot of feelings on this trip. Like, I let a lot of people down, including myself. It's been hard to shake. Rob likes to remind me that at the end of the day, it's just a bike ride. And these trips serve as a constant reminder that whether I'm following a 50-mile or 2,500-mile route, it isn't following a red line on my GPS and getting to the end that makes the journey memorable. It's the people that we meet, the companionship, the unknown, and the beauty. So this year, I won't check the Tour Divide checkbox off my list. Instead, I'll be going on different adventures, like this one. There's something that just feels special about starting a bikepacking trip right from your doorstep. We decided to get to Whitefish, Montana by train. The ride from Rob's house to the Portland train station was only a handful of miles. I think both Rob and I were pretty excited about the idea of taking the Amtrak. Turns out though, it's kind of a pain in the ass when you have a lot of gear and a big bike. You have to box up the bike, and technically you're not supposed to disassemble your bike except for removing pedals, lowering the seat, and turning your handlebars. Let's just say we didn't get technical about it.
I bought a box, took it home, fitted the whole thing, made sure, because that thing is so tight. It's like so freaking
Had to let the air out of the wheels.
Yes.
And tires.
Hardest part of the trip done.
Welcome to my private car.
What's that guy doing there?
That's the butler.
The train ride from Portland is about 14 hours through the night. Rob's a master conqueror, so no trouble for him. I had trouble getting comfortable, and if I did it again, I'd consider getting a sleeper car. I still think the train is probably less of a hassle than taking an airplane. We arrived at Whitefish on a beautiful, smoke-free morning. There was plenty of room at the Whitefish Amtrak station to yard sale and get our bikes back in riding order with everything repacked. From there, we got a few supplies at the local grocery store and started riding the Whitefish Bike Retreat. It's about a 10-mile ride from the train station. Thanks to a random guy at the grocery store, we learned that there's some single-track trails that can take you right to the retreat to avoid some treacherous highway riding. The Whitefish Bike Retreat is great. Just be aware that they don't sell food beyond some snacks, ice cream, and beer. We met some awesome people at the retreat. Shout out to Crystal and Mike for sharing their flake steak fajitas with us. That was the best food we had on the entire trip. We stayed at the riding campsite at the bike retreat. It was nice and quiet. I'd recommend it. Whitefish Bike Retreat provides shuttles to the border or all the way up to Banff when the border's open for Tour Divide riders. We got dropped off where we once again would repack our bikes.
So our original plan was to ride the Tour Divide trail from the Canadian border to the Mexican border. However, there's been a little wrench, a little hiccup thrown into, might say, a stick in the spoke. Chris has to go back to work in a week. And I'm not really sure if I could be alone that long. There's a lot going on in here. So we're gonna do a great 4 or 5 day ride around Glacier National Park and then back to that great bicycle retreat that we stayed at. And we'll stay there Saturday night and just have a good time together. And then from there, I'll see if I'm gonna head south or make a decision from there. So otherwise, hell, it's bike riding.
It's a bike ride.
It's a bike ride. Woohoo! So, what's up, Chris?
Oh, it's going great. Got a late start. It's hot out.
How hot?
Well, back at the store it's at 86 degrees. I don't know now. We're in the shade now. It feels like 50 degrees cooler here. But yeah, we're about to get back on the highway, do some highway riding, just like I planned. And then we'll cut across this lake and hopefully get on some gravel roads where it's more chill. Hang out by the lake, that's the plan. We'll see. I don't know.
This never goes right. It's never right. It always is Jack. But you know what? It's always fun. Well, sometimes it's type 2 fun.
If you couldn't tell, Rob and I are weenies in the heat. Rather than following the Tour Divide route, we ended up heading southwest and tracing along the rim of Kookanusa Lake. A volunteer at Glacier National Park told us that the name originated from the combining of the first 3 letters of the Kootenai River, Canada, and USA, Kookanusa. After some hot pavement riding, we stumbled on a great campsite where we did some swimming, and I failed at fishing. This would continue to be the case for the entire trip. The lake was incredible. It was the perfect temperature and a beautiful color. We both got lousy sleep on this night. Mule deer were pacing around our tent. We'd get up every now and then to confirm it wasn't a bear. We made sure to hang our food away from our tent, but that didn't keep the mice from bothering us. One even scurried up our tent and caused Rob to get out in the middle of the night and do a full inspection. We started the morning a little tired without really knowing where we were going to end up exactly and what was along the way, so we decided not to lounge at camp too long. There's more road riding today, though we probably only saw 6 cars on this stretch of road. It was nice to get an early start and feel the brisk morning air. We later set out with the goal of making it to the popular Dickey Lake and crossed our fingers there would be an open campsite.
So here we are, another typical ride with Chris. He just informed me, he had told me at the beginning of the ride, we're going to do about 230 miles with maybe 10 to 15,000 feet of gain. Well, that 10 to 15,000 feet of gain just turned into 18,000 feet of gain, and pretty much the 18,000 feet starts now. Well, it's like 11:30, it's already 85 degrees, supposed to get a little warm today, and thanks, buddy. There's my little buddy. Son of a gun. There's our little cycling champion having a conk somewhere in Montana.
After a long day of riding, we stumbled into a pub in Trago where we drank, ate, and drank some more.
The only thing I like better than round 1 is round 2.
Such a drunk. What about round 3?
Well, round 3 can sometimes be a bad decision. But you know, I've been known for those.
I guess Rob lost something? Or he dropped something, so he's headed back up this hill. I'm not gonna follow him. I'll wait here.
After a good time, we rode a few more miles to arrive at Dickey Lake where we were greeted by the camp host and an open site.
Man, Rick just hooked us up, bro. Got a great spot to camp. We're freaking dialed. That was such a hard day, except for the beer drinking. That was pretty easy for me.
Getting this camp spot was pretty easy.
I think we just got really lucky.
Excited to get on some gravel, we left Dickey Lake early.
You see that?
Yeah, what is that?
That's bear poop.
What? How do you know?
That's absolutely bear poop. 2-year-old male, about a day old, had huckleberries for dinner. Guaranteed.
You know that by the taste?
Yeah, you can tell. You should try it.
Day 4 was the best day of riding. We'd be heading northeast past Graves Creek and over Whitefish Pass, where, last, we found some gravel. Littered throughout the gravel road were signs of bears everywhere. Like, every 100 yards we'd be seeing bear scat, so we were on high paw patrol alert. We moved slowly and quietly, hoping that we'd see some wildlife. We were fortunate enough to spot a black bear traversing a hill on the other side of the canyon. I was hoping to see a grizzly, but I was also hoping I wouldn't see a grizzly, if you know what I mean. More gravel led us closer to Glacier National Park, where the distant peaks were shrouded in smoke. Our goal for this evening was to make it to Polebridge, which turned out to be no problem at all. There's a restaurant and a little mercantile in Polebridge for refueling.
What's going on, Parker?
So we left Dickey Lake this morning, which is a great swimming lake, and we just had a great ride up and over Graves Creek and went over Whitefish Pass, saw a bear out there, and I would highly, highly recommend that mountain bike ride. That was really cool. Now we're here in Polebridge, and tomorrow we'll go into the north entrance of Glacier and do some riding back to Whitefish. But right now, we all know what time it is. My favorite time. It's beer Thursday.
We stayed at the North Fork Hostel in Polebridge, which was great. In the morning, we got lots of goodies at the Polebridge Mercantile. Coffee, bear claws, breakfast sandwiches, lunch sandwiches. This place has it going on. After a short ride, we arrived at the Polebridge entrance of Glacier National Park. We traveled along a closed road down to the west entrance where we camped at Fish Creek Campground. Fish Creek Campground is positioned right on Lake McDonald, which was beautiful and crystal clear. Unfortunately, the mountain backdrop remained hidden amongst the dense smoke. Day 6 had us traveling back to Whitefish on a mixture of gravel and tarmac. We arrived back in Whitefish with several hours to spare before our train departed. We killed time by drinking beer, eating, drinking milkshakes, switching to wine, eating ice cream, and Rob fought a bike rack.
Really?
Why is my life so hard?
It's like deja vu, Parker.
It's like deja vu all over again, isn't it?
So, we didn't ride the Tour Divide this year. But in the moments where my weary legs are grinding up a hill and Rob and I are commiserating about how pathetic we are in the heat, or when we stumble onto a pub and have a beer together at the end of a hard day and talk about the ride, or as we watch a black bear in the distance traverse a scree slope, totally unaware of our presence, I'm not thinking about the Tour Divide. It all feels the same. It's a bike ride. I'm present, and the exact route I'm riding doesn't matter. In the end, none of this really makes me feel better about bailing on the Divide this year. And I'll forget all this wisdom from this trip in a few days as I get fixated on another specific route. It's just the way that I am. But the good news is, I'll be quickly reminded next weekend when I'm off on a new adventure.
Until next weekend, bud.
Yeah, that's right. See you later, man.
See you later. Thanks for a fun trip.